today's day 39. I'm talking about today the concept of as the world turns, which is basically my way of reminding me about perspective. So when I was a child in the 70s, around 1979, 1980, I think I was like 7 or 8 years old. Um, it was very popular at the time because really wasn't cable TV, not that I know of, and that people would watch daytime soap operas. It was like our the reality TV of the 70s, even though it was scripted, just like reality TV is today. But it was something that enthralled and captured the attention of people in the afternoon. And in my neighborhood, there was a division between the people whose moms watched As the World Turns versus the moms that watched General Hospital. And my family was a General Hospital family. So this soap opera, I would come home from second or third grade, and I would ask my mom what was going on in General Hospital land, and she would tell me about the exploits of Luke and Laura and whoever else. And I remember thinking, these people had all these massive problems, but what I started to learn is it didn't matter when I checked into the soap opera. I could come back 6 months and ask my mom what was going on, and nothing really would change. It would all stay pretty much the same. They would have ups and downs and torment and problems and issues and family issues and drama. But at the end of the day, the storyline relatively remained the same. So it kind of gave me this idea of perspective. Different people have different perspectives on what's good or what's bad, right? So I think perspective is really important. It's one of the real primary reasons why I always force myself to talk to people I don't know. Like on LinkedIn, I get hit up by people all the time to have a conversation. And a lot of times I'll just say yes, even though I know they're selling me something, because talking to people you don't know is a great way to give yourself more perspective. Let's talk about time, the nature of time. Time is a make believe. Time is a make believe concept, right? There's a scientific and historical basis on why we use 24 hours in a day. I mean, a day is historically because of the Earth's rotation. The Earth would rotate, and as the Earth rotates or tilts upon its axis, we call that a day. Now, why did we come up with 24 hours? Because not all days are the same length of time. But, it goes back to the days of Egypt where they had constellations in the sky and they would measure. And I think there happened to be 12 of them, which is really convenient because 12 is divisible by 2. So you could have 2, 4, 6, 8, really convenient. But they had a way of measuring with constellations. So this 12-hour notion, a 12-hour day, 12-hour night, is something that we've probably been doing ever since Egyptians, or even probably before then. So the ability to calculate time has been around forever, as long as we've been human, probably. So time is a very real concept in the fact that the sun comes up and goes down based on the Earth's rotation. And then on the 365 days a year is basically roughly how long it takes for the Earth to rotate completely around the sun. So as our world is spinning, it's also rotating around the sun, and that's what we call a year. As it turns out, it's 365 plus some change, and that change is why we have to have leap years and stuff like that. So that's time. That's reality of time. The fake reality of time is the hours and the seconds and the minutes we assign to a 24-hour day cycle. But let's just think about this from a cosmic perspective. You know, the Earth right now is spinning really fast. It's like 1,000 miles per hour. So the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. And the Earth is traveling around the sun at about 66,000 miles per hour. So the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, traveling around the sun at 66,000 miles per hour. And the sun itself, our solar system, is traveling around the center of our galaxy at about 500,000 miles per hour. So we are in constant movement and motion and at a very fast pace. So when I was running this morning, I was complaining to myself that I was too slow. I was sluggish, my legs felt like lead, and I was whining to myself that I was slow. And that's when it hit me that I needed to look at this from perspective. If I were to be looking at my slow running self from a galaxy perspective, I was moving really fast. So perspective is what really matters, right? Especially when we look at the problems in our lives. Every little dinky problem we have may feel overwhelming at the time, but if you give yourself perspective, those little problems become very meaningless in the grand perspective of things. So take a look at your own experiences, think about the problems you have right now, and see, how can I look at this from a different perspective? How can I move out and look at it differently? A lot of times I look at my problems from a generational perspective. Like my grandfather, who's passed away, he was a man that a lot of people admired. And he kind of helped get our family where it's at today, meaning that he went and did something like go to law school, and he had a law practice. And so a lot of us are the beneficiaries of that. So I'm sitting there thinking, he had a whole ton of problems. Imagine millions of problems every day, but none of those problems mean anything. I'm 2 generations removed from him now. And I remember things about him. I remember very important things about him, and I'm hoping to pass those on to my children, as I will pass things about my dad on to my children, and so forth. But all those little problems, when you think about it from a generational perspective, mean nothing. They're nothing. What really matters is the big motions that you make in your life to do something really, the transformational experience you have in your life to really become something different, something that you can pass on to generations past you. So I always look at my life in terms of a generational impact, because that really changes how I think about life. So just to want to reiterate, perspective is what it's all about, especially when we're staring at all of our little issues through the microcosm of our life. So with that, if you want to read more, there's a blog article on this as well. And with that, I'll say goodbye.